各位网友，大家好！今天呢，我为大家介绍一下如何在金菩提宗师 YouTube 频道上去更好的去观看同一个主题下面的开示的清单，还有呢，怎么样把这个主题下所有的开示呢一起都分享给我们的朋友。首先呢，在师父的 YouTube 频道的主页上呢，我们先看到哈。So first,
in Grandmaster JinBodhi's YouTube channel,
so this is the home page. You can see these are the live videos.
We have Chant to Shakyamuni Buddha. We also have Grandmaster JinBodhi's family precepts. In the future, we'll have more. And this is the healing series.
再往下看到这个精选话题，你看这里边有关于命运系列，有8个开始，认识生命系列呢有12个开始，念佛持咒入门有9个开始，因缘因果系列有11个开始，
and chantings and mantras we have 9.
比如说这个关于命运系列，我点选
come back
查看
to
完整
this
播
about
放清单。
So if I click there, we'll see
是从第一个开始
from number 1,
读史知命
video,
第二个第三个
read the history, understand life, and then there's the second, there's the third. So this about fate series, Grandmaster used all the stories in the history, all the true stories in the history to teach us how to understand our life and also to improve our life. This is so wonderful. Whether for our Bodhi disciples or for our friends who have never been to Bodhi, this is a very good series to watch and learn. And if we'd like to share with our friends, so just click there. And you can see the link is already here. Just click copy. And we can see, oh, the link is already copied. In my computer, there's no WeChat. A lot of Chinese people use WeChat. You can use WeChat to share. You can copy the and paste the link and share. And so, if I share on WhatsApp, now I'm going to share with Sister Shanka. And so I paste the link here and send to her so she can see the whole playlist. And this one is Cause and Consequence series. And so these are many stories that Grandmaster teach about cause and consequence. They're very suitable for us to share with our friends, whether they have been to Bodhi or not. They can learn from these stories to understand cause and consequence, and also to know Grandmaster JinBodhi. So we just click that share, and then we copy the link, and I paste it here and share with Sister Shanka, so she will have it. And now let's come back to, recent live feeds. If we click on the right arrow, then we can see more on before, and we can also see there's the videos about meditation, about energy bagua, about Buddha Dhamma. So these are more for practitioners, and this is life wisdom. And for youth, these are really suitable for sharing with our friends who haven't been to Bodhi before. This is about health, healthy living. We have 21 videos. For youth, we have 34 videos. On the Chinese channel, we have that many videos. On the English channel, maybe a little bit different. And this one is for parenting. There are 25 in the Chinese channels. For youth, there are many very short clips, 4 minutes, 7 minutes, and also we click that share, and then we can copy the link. very easy to share. And we have, feng shui and marriage and family, also for work. So more teachings and more clips will be added to these playlists. And these are for more advanced learning. For those who would like to learn more and more advanced teachings on meditation, energy Bagua, or Buddha Dhamma, they can come to this part. This is everyday practice. This is for mostly for our Bodhi students. We actually can use it every day. You could also, Chinese people now can already use the Meditation Master app too. And the last one is the live feed. Okay, now let's come back to the home page. How to find the newest video added to the channel. So click video and sort. We can choose whether it's the hottest or the most popular, or maybe added, time added, maybe the newest or the oldest. And so if I choose the order of the videos being added, so we can see now this is added 1 day ago, 2 days ago, like 3 days ago, 5 days ago. And so this is how we found the newly added videos. Just click on video. Okay. How to share the playlist and how to find the newest newly added videos. Now I've already shared with you how to do that. Thank you. Hello, my dear friends. Hello, everyone. Today, we will have chanting and practice together. We have just completed learning Ersto Bodhisattva Sutra. I received a lot of messages sending to me. Especially, a lot of people mentioned that there are lots of things that they cannot do anymore, and they know that they should, not kill and do good things, don't do bad things. This is really terrible in the hell. The hell is just right under our feet. If we're not careful, we could quickly fall into hell. So I can put an analogy. Let's review the teachings. It's actually an analogy used by Buddha. It's just like a building with 9 stories. The lower 3 levels are the 3 evil realms, and the middle 3 are related to human beings, and the upper ones are higher. It's just like when we have balloons on our body, and if we do bad things, then we would have like a weight on our feet. Oh. So when we do more good deeds, then we have more balloons. And if we do more bad deeds, then we will have more weights and pulling us down. So what should we do? Of course, we need to do more good deeds, do more helping, and so then we can have more balloons. And especially, we should really try to reduce killing. What hurt others, not only killing, what can hurt others? Let's think about it. Well, Joy said cheating or stealing, killing is the most severe. Let's go one by one. Especially, we need to be respectful and practice filial piety to our parents. And, bringing harm to others, it doesn't necessarily mean taking away their lives. So you can, slander or humiliate, or, for your parents, if you push them, because they are already seniors, maybe they can fall. So they, let alone beat them in the passed the law, actually, of the government, if people are not filial and they are very disrespectful for their parents or even harm them, then they could even be arrested. And sometimes some people think that, oh, I just don't want to be filial. Democracy sometimes bring a lot of freedom to people, but also make it inappropriate in some cases if they just have the freedom not to treat their parents well. That's bringing problems. And on these ways, we see a lot of, things like maybe set fire or tell lies or cheating, scamming, and take drugs or telling lies, or maybe there are actually two things that, and jealousy and even being lazy or very luxurious. A lot of people think that maybe being lazy is not a big thing, not a bad thing. And if somebody is, too lazy, the management of the building is too lazy, it could even make the building collapse or fall. The previous CEO, Steve Jobs of Apple company, before he was the CEO, the CEO before him, they actually, when Apple stock was like falling down like crazy, but he was on vacation, and when he heard the news, he said, no, don't disturb me. This is my vacation. And so he just continued to enjoy his time on the beach. And so the board of directors, they were furious. They were like, what? They almost want to kill him. So they dismissed him immediately. And they called Steve Jobs back right away, because Steve Jobs, he considered the work as his life, and he really put all his effort and time there. And so lazy is also a kind of selfishness. So Joy said, I remember that in a Korean movie, Along with God, I think, and there was a hell, there was a hell actually punishing the lazy people. So there was a big, what should we call that? It was like pushing and chasing people. They can never stop. And in Taiwan, I think they have, I don't know, maybe they have these, regulations like how many hours you need to work. And so then you have this many benefits. Of course, these requirements are reasonable, but cannot be excessive. There are so many people unemployed. You cannot have too strict requirements. A lot of important positions, say for example, some organizations, there are lots of say for example, this online company, suddenly they got virus, and then the bank, you cannot deposit or withdraw money, and you cannot go online banking. And so if we want to send any complaints, but it's Saturday, but if you are the manager of the company, should you actually come back and solve the problem, and so the bank can continue to work, function, or should you say, oh, this is Saturday? Well, I think if you take the money, and you should, actually, this is an old Chinese saying, if you if you take the money, you should do the work. Whatever industry or whatever field you're in, you do this work, and just occasionally, because it's an emergency, just because of virtues or morals, let's put overtime aside. First of all, we should think about getting the company or the bank back to function, right? You think, oh, I don't care, I can always find a place to work. Well, this person would be heartless, right? If a girl married this person, would this man be responsible? And when the girl gets old, would he even be treat her well? And maybe, yeah, sometimes these laziness or like irresponsible sometimes can cause a lot of problems. So Grandmaster, you mentioned about after work, they probably can do a little bit more to just make sure everything will run smoothly. And some people, actually, it's already their duty of their work, but they're just lazy and they don't do well. Say, for example, if for construction, they think, oh, just so. And if they're just feeling lazy and maybe the building will not meet the standard, yeah, and then it could even kill lives. So if they're negligent and they try to put more, like if the employer put more material, put more effort, and the workers and the employees do not work hard, then it would be a big problem. I know that some of the recreational parks that maybe like if you go to like what is that called? Let me think. Yeah, this. I think one of the equipment actually fall down, and there were 60 people were killed, and hundreds of people were injured. And when they checked why this equipment will fall down, actually. So how can they? Yeah, so it can actually. They found out the reason for that. So like in this amusement park, this person who did a welding of the equipment, they have already bankrupted. And then when they go find the owner of that company before, they said, oh, I've already told the workers to work harder, but the employer didn't want to pay enough money to the workers, so the workers always try to work less. And they're supposed to put the screw very, very tight, and then they don't screw it very tight, and they use shorter screws, and they don't even keep the maintenance of the equipment. So we cannot be lazy in the maintenance. We cannot be lazy in the management. And the employers and the employees, they can never be lazy. And say, for example, electronics, those hot water, shower, they have these, in China, they use those kind of like heaters. And in the factory that make this water heater, if they are lazy and they haven't completed all the process, and we actually heard a lot of cases that people, when they are taking that shower, they actually were killed. And there's also they
尤其是前些年，很多人不懂，很多
yeah
人不懂呢。其实烧这样的一个炉子哈，它以为这是
in
高科技，
China
高科技
sometimes
只要
they
按照
use
任
they
何地
think
方
that
烧就好了，就能淋
oh
浴，
this is
就能
high
洗澡。
tech, and
其实
so
不
they
是这样
think as long
它
as
需要的
we
基本
heat the
条件
water then we can
要有
take the
足够的
shower.
通风。
But remember, you also need
很多人不懂，
ventilation.
自己回
But
去
a lot of people
就
they
刚
don't
刚
know
自己就安上去了，
that
觉得只要是
they need
能烧
ventilation,
水
so
能
they
出
think
热水，这叫
oh they
完
can
美。其实
assemble
不是，
the heater
就
themselves,
洗澡的
and
这
they
个小
think
屋
that
子
as long as we can heat the water,
一定是和室
so
外的
make
空气
sure
是流
that
通
the
的，
shower
也
room
就是至
you
少
need to have
有20-30公
ventilation.
分的一个大
At
窟窿
least
和外面
you
的空
need
气
to
流通。
have a
就
hole
是里面
that
烧
you
煤
can
气，你
have
只是没
fresh air
看
from
见而已。
outside.
烧煤气烧水的，其实那个炉子
When
隐
the
蔽在那个
water
小方块
heater
之中。
is
烧煤气的那
burning,
个
they're
废
they're
煤气
using the
和那
gas,
个废热水跑哪里去了？
and
如
they
果出不
also
去，
need
就把洗澡的人，
oxygen, they
尤
need
其是
air.
女孩家洗个头，多洗一会儿自己，对不对？
So sometimes
让
some
它超过
girls
20分
might
钟，就
take
可
a
能
little longer to
这个
wash
是
their
氧化
hair.
碳
If it takes
中
longer,
毒，
say
人
20
就会昏
minutes,
倒。
and there will be
当
too
达到
many
多少的时间、多少
carbon
分钟以内，
monoxide, and they
不及
could
时抢救，人
be
就会变成脑
poisonous.
死亡，
And
非常
after
恐怖。
a
所以这
certain
件事
period of
情，
time, maybe
洗
just
澡
a
死
few
的人、被
seconds,
电
and
死
then
的、
they could
被这个一氧
be
化碳熏
killed
死的人，
just
全世界
by
每
taking
年
those
还是有大
showers.
量
And they
到目前来说。
people who have been killed by
所
those
以我们
carbon
做事情的时
monoxide,
候不要
I
偷
think
懒惰
every
啊！
year there are
就
quite a
因
few
为
people
懒
in
惰
the
的原
world
因，
who are killed
好
by
的好的事，
this.
开车
So
的时候，
we cannot be
当我们有这
lazy.
个速度的
A
时
lot
候，
of
比如说你
things
往旁
can
边路
be
上靠，或者在拐弯
ruined
的时候，
by
你看多
laziness
少司
when
机
you are
老虎，
driving.
开个大司机
Some
拐弯就把
drivers
旁边骑摩托的人给压死。
the drivers of big
对，
trucks sometimes
有
they're
些在
just
马路的十
ignorant,
字路
not
口上一拐弯的时候，
negligent, and
有些
so
开
they
大长的跑车，
they just turn a
能把
smaller
这个人家站在路
circle,
边
and
的
then
安
the
全地带的人
cyclists were
被刮
killed
倒
because
压
of
死，
them, and even
这都是
pedestrians.
懒得
And
看
it's
多看
all
一眼，
because they were
就是
just
责任心
lazy.
不
They
够，
they didn't
懒得多看一
even
眼，所以才
care
闹事。
to check
哎，
whether there are
是吧？
pedestrians there,
还
whether
有
there are
开那个
cyclists
高
there.
高的那个大卡车，很高的大卡
And
车，
especially
哎，
those very big
就过那个
trucks,
桥
very
下头，把
tall
那个桥
trucks,
给桥墩子给撞烂
and
了，桥梁
they
给刮下来，对不
they
对？
pass
其实
through
那
a
个司机
bridge,
自己
but
就
they
会
are
死亡，
too
这猛的那
tall,
撞了一
and
下，
so
这
they
司机不死是不可能的
break
事
the
情，
bridge, and sometimes
懒惰
the
疏
driver
忽，
will also be
哎，
killed.
要
It's
多
just
小心一点，
negligence.
是不是啊？
So
有一份责任心，
we really
你
need
在
to
工作的
have
时
the
候
sense
让
of
你紧张起来，
responsibility. When we're
要有警
working,
觉心、
we need to be
责任心
alerted. We need
啊，
to have the
要
sense of
淡化自己的
responsibility.
懒惰心，
We should
对吧？哎，
stop
你
that
才可能
laziness
保
so
证很多事
that
情是安全的，别人安全，自
everything
己
can
安
be
全。
safe. Other people
更不要
can
说建筑工地
enjoy
和高
safety,
空
and
作
we
业
will
的
be
人，
safe.
一定要随
Let
时
alone
紧
the
张小
people
心，
who
认真
work,
谨慎，是吧？
in the
所
air,
以
and
很
we
多
need
的
to be
这
very,
个罪
very
过行为，
careful
就
and
是在我们日
alerted.
常工作
And
之中，就在
so
日常工作之中，
a lot of
对吧？
these bad
一嫉
things
妒
are
心一来了，自
actually
己都不知道，
happens
他立刻就开始
in our
讽刺
daily
大
life. Like jealousy can
是
come
吧？
at
想
any
打小
time.
报告，
Um,
哎，对吧？就开始捣
maybe
鼓别
all
人，
of a sudden we
严
have
重的
jealousy,
严
and
重的
then
用嘴巴伤害
we
人的，能导
sometimes
致
will
让对方自
even
杀，会
you know,
让
if
对
we
方自杀
really
起来，这些
do bad things with our mouth,
从
say
法律上
humiliate or
找不
slander
到
or
什么罪
something,
过，
and
但
sometimes we
是
can kill people
到了
or
阴间了，阎王爷会给
yeah,
你算得一清二楚。
maybe in today's society you won't
所
be
以我
put
们
to
在
prison, but
生活
once
中，
in
如
the
果没
other
有这份
world,
学习，
the Lord of
没有这份
hell
警觉
might
心，
keep you
就
there.
是道德的
So
警觉心，
every day,
我
if we
们
do
随时
not
就会犯罪
be
造恶。
alerted to keep our
当
virtues
问
and
题出来
morals,
了之
then
后，
there will be
有的时候
problems.
人在佛前、神前，甚至在师傅
Once
前，
there's
说你
already
看我们这
harm
么好，
taken,
怎么还
maybe
出
in
这种
front of
问题？
Buddha or in front of
一直
Master,
是
in front of
这个时候你
Buddhas,
并不能
Bodhisattvas,
拿
and
账
Master,
本
and you
来
think,
查看一
oh,
下，到
you
阎王
see,
爷看看你
I'm
的
a
账
good
本，才知道
person,
你
kind
罪过有
person.
多少。
Why I have such a
只是
bad
犯
thing
罪成为
happening
习惯，就以为不是
on
犯
us?
罪。
And And sometimes if you carefully check what you have done, you would know why. Sometimes we're just not careful and we didn't even realize. So just now, we only mentioned what laziness can cause. There are so many things that we, just because of our negligence or we didn't be careful, that we can harm others, let alone killing and harming itself. And so these harming will cause everyone, even heavenly beings, fall to hell, let alone ordinary human beings. Even if you graduate from university or even have a PhD, no use. Even heavenly beings, they are not careful, they can fall to hell. So those who fall into hell, not just human beings, but heavenly beings and dragon-like beings. And so hell is not a good place to go to. So we now know we need to be careful. So where should we start? We know that we need to be very careful, very alerted. We need to be respectful, to sing praise, to make offerings to Earth Bodhisattva. Do more things like these and allow ourselves and remind ourselves every day. We always need to be very careful and not to have bad thoughts and bad words coming up. And every day we need to be very diligently clear our mind. I mean, to be very kind and always have kind thoughts, kind deeds. Think about it, whether this is whether we should do it or not. Usually when you hesitate, maybe we shouldn't. If it's a kind thing, when we think about it, of course, we need to do it. So this is so important. We have already, we've already talked 2 years. After these 2 years, have we changed anything? Anybody who have had any improvements? And Joy said, yeah, our online friends, and including myself, after listening to Grandmaster's teachings. Now we are very careful about our, including our initial thoughts, our thoughts, our words, our actions. And so we need to be very mindful and be very alerted and have that agility. And so in these 2 years, we shared a lot of sharings, their stories, their benefits, and we're so happy for them. Like before, they usually would complain, oh, why me? Why I have these terrible things happening? And sometimes complain about relationships too, maybe, and always complain about others. But through these learnings, we can see a lot of messages and emails that they would say, oh, now I will reflect on myself. Oh, it is actually because myself, I have not done, I haven't treated my, say, mother-in-law well. And so they will observe themselves and reflect on themselves. And so this is a very big improvement, a big progress. And some of our online friends are very interesting, and every day they would report to Grandmaster, Grandmaster, today I did something wrong. And so they come to repent in front of Grandmaster, and they would remember what good things their families has done to them, and they will notice the children's improvements and progress, and they are very grateful. And so when we see that, we can see that they are following Master's teachings and trying to improve. And Joy says, when we're learning all these sutras, we're reviewing all our aspirations, how to keep our aspiration. And so again and again, we review our aspirations, and a lot of our disciples, we also, talk to each other and share that. Before, Grandmaster say, when you don't have enough faith in Grandmaster and think that the aspiration that the vow that you set in front of Buddha maybe are not very authentic. And so the vow, actually Erstwhile Bodhisattva, every year and even every month or every day and in every situation he would make vows. And so for myself, at least every week, and I will at least review my vows so that I can be full of confidence, full of faith and gratitude, and be grateful for Buddha's Bodhisattva's blessings, so that I can dedicate myself in helping all sentient beings. And when I'm doing this, I would have immeasurable power and confidence. And so we need to again and again review our aspiration. If the aspiration is not high, we need to elevate it. So the lower aspirations maybe will only bring us lower level wisdom and lower level state and lower achievements. And so the aspiration, when it's different, it will manifest in different levels of people. Say, for example, grandma, maybe 70 years old, you might think, oh, I'm just a grandma, and my wish is only for my grandchild to be better, my grandchildren to be better. This is not enough. Even the ordinary people, if you can only realize 1% of your aspirations, it's already very good. A lot of times, our wishes maybe are of lower level. It is very hard to get 100%. The higher level, the bigger aspirations, the better. So these are just my experience. So during the time when we're learning Erstwhile Bodhisattva Sutra, there are lots of people sent me messages and said their families and relatives need to be released, and sometimes they would have dreams and they see that their families or relatives, they go up, and sometimes they see that there's an extraordinary golden being who hold his family or relatives up. And before, when they dream of their family and relatives, the families or relatives, they're very sad, and now they're shining light, they're very happy. And so these are all very good. So I'm not going to reply to you individually because I really have limited time. So I'm going to reply here. If you dream of your families or relatives, if they are very happy and at ease, these are very good. So you can, can feel happy about it. Our aspiration actually saves our families and relatives in the hell, and that merits that we accumulate. There's a Korean friend said he lit a candle for his father because his father had liver cancer. Actually, his father, when he was young, actually has killed a person. And definitely he would be in hell. And so when he dreamed of his father, his father was punished and was full of blood on the face. But now when he dreamed of his father, he can see his father is very clean, no blood, and happy, and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are taking him and very happy. And friends from Malaysia, they said, oh, the father's body was very thin, and there's always those fogs, and some evil chi was, like surrounding him, and his father used to be very being tortured by it. But after learning Earth Bodhisattva, now he dreamed of his father. He saw that his father was like back to use and was riding on the bicycle and even riding up to the sky and then wave goodbye to him. And in front of him it was like a ray of white light and taking him up. And so this is really wonderful. And after learning Earth Bodhisattva, after learning it, a lot of our friends understand that the most important thing is to accumulate merits before. When they have any, some emergencies or whenever they have some difficulties, they always say, write a letter to Master and beg for Master's help. And now they think, now I know whenever I have any emergencies or any needs or difficulties, I need to, create some merits myself. I'll make some offerings. I'll do something now. Now they all know what to do. And so this is very wonderful if we can continue and be consistent in accumulating merits. And now our online friends, only when they have emergencies, they would accumulate merits. But they are even wiser friends. They would accumulate merits at all times, even they don't have any emergencies or risks or something. And so this is really wonderful. We're creating auspiciousness for our whole life and protections for our whole life. And there's a friend from Guangzhou who purchased the wooden phurbas. That's a lady. Do you know how many evil energy in her family? And she put the phurbas in her handbag. And so in her bag, she doesn't have too many things, just a car key and a phone. And she put the phurbas in the bag. But that day, she felt a lot of yin energy. Actually, at home, she also offered some Buddha statues and Buddha pictures and thangkas. However, her father, when he was young, and her grandfather were butchers. They actually have a factory for killing animals, and so they have committed countless killings. So that day when she went back home, that was a little late, and she just couldn't open the door. When she put some force on it, the key was twisted, and so she was very anxious. And so she called her friends and also the locksmith to come. And the next day, she found that her phurbas broke in her handbag because there were too much evil energy, too much killing committed before. It's because her merits cannot match her debt. There were still so many resentment towards her, and that's why her child has problem mentally. And she asked me what to do. And I said, in the future, if we can have metal phurbas or metal, we actually have metal phurbas, and we have copper ones, iron ones, and now we have these very tiny ones we ordered for everyone, like this small. We need, it's only about 3 to 4 centimeters. These are metal ones, and this is all made of copper and silver plated. And one is silver plated, one is all copper, and it's very strong. If you put in your handbag, it would be very hard to break. But still, it can break because of evil energy. Because when you wear this with you, then you will feel like that evil energy will feel a very strong like energy dispelling them. So sometimes it can break that phurbas. About more than 20 years ago, I give someone a phurbas from Ming Dynasty, but when he returned to me, that's a copper one, but when he returned to me, it was broken. Because human beings cannot break it. It's very strong, but the copper phurbas was completely break into two pieces, and that was just hard to imagine. And these are very small and very good for everyone to wear and to wear it. It's very good for protection. I don't know whether these are whether we have already put them on 慈悲音. It's very light, so it's easy to carry.
一样，这个穿了绳，那个没穿绳而已哈。
Yeah.
这是很漂亮哈。
Like
金刚月啊，金刚杵。
So these are like the diamond phurbas or the diamond moon. And you actually, especially the one without the knife, you can maybe tie to the child's backpack or the lady's handbag, or you can wear it on your necklace as a pendant, or yeah, so it will definitely be very effective. This is actually made of copper, and they made them into this color. This is actually made of pure copper. This is very strong, very not likely to be broken and dispel evil energy. And when it did break, then don't be frightened, and use red paper or red cloth to wrap it, and then put it into a place, a drawer that you usually don't touch or don't use. Don't throw away. Or you need to find a very clean place. Well, it's usually hard to find a clean place where nobody has stepped over and no animals has stepped over. So probably just keep it at home in a place where you usually don't touch. And so now you all know. We need to accumulate merits. Don't wait until emergencies happen. So first, after learning Store Bodhisattva, we know what is wrong. And second, we know that we need to accumulate merits. And third, if we know our families or relatives, they are suffering in hell, then the living will be impossible to have a very smooth life. You know, the Tao, the way in the world is actually the same. You know, those feng shui master or people who have yin-yang eyes or the divine eyes, they can see. It actually matches our teachings in Buddha Dharma. They will say the same thing. When we learn more about when we learn more, we will know that yin and yang and kindness and evil, and they will all manifest in our fate, and even our appearance is also the consequence of some causes. So is it terrible? Well, as a human being, we all hope that we can be smart, we can be lovely, we can be healthy, we can fulfill our wishes, we can be prosperous the whole life, and we can be auspicious. And all of these are actually obtained through cultivation. Even just to have a whole life as human being is not easy. Well, very few people can be prosperous the whole life. Most people, if they don't work, they can't even make a living. Very few people, they have too much money to spend and they don't even have any accident. It's because they cultivated well in their previous lives. The day before, during the pandemic, outside our center, the Vancouver Center, we have an outdoor patio. We have the tent so people can having tea over there. And so there's a lady who comes to talk to me, and I said, well, you always want to talk to me. You must have something. She actually has 3 sons, and every one of them are each of her son actually are the best in her class. And I can see that because of she in her past she was a high official, and because of that position she helped a lot of people. But also because she was a military official, she also have some killings. And even though she has a lot of prosperity because she helped a lot of people, but also because of her killings in her previous life that she would have accidents. Maybe she killed 500 people in the past, but she paid all these debts for 389. But so there are still more than 100 people you haven't paid the debts, right? So Christine wants to share. So a lady actually have a very good relationship with her husband, and her work was very good, but she cannot have a baby. And so she came to Bodhi meditation, always pray for Grandmaster's blessings. And once one of our teachers said, we don't know why, but your husband has a kind of energy which is very strongly killing energy. And so when they talk to her husband and they know that her husband's ancestors were military, and so yes, they are very prosperous, but they killed lots of people. So now these descendants, usually you would think, oh, of course, after marriage you can have babies, but these 2 people just cannot have a baby. And when they have medical checks, both of them are very healthy, but they just can't have babies. And so they prayed for Grandmaster's help, and Grandmaster actually did give them a lot of blessings. At the same time, actually, the couple were they were very wise. They did a lot of merits, and so the next year, the lady got pregnant and they had a baby. So that's good. And so Grandmaster, you mentioned about the prajna pestle and the phurbas. Can we hang it as a necklace? Grandmaster said yes. Well, actually, all these blessed items you can take turns to wear them when you go to different places or when you in different situations. You can take turns and wear different things that's suitable for that situation, including your bead and other blessed items. So now you already understand all the prosperities, accidents, or career, or lifespan, and our descendants. These are all consequences of cause. So this is like when we we reap as we sow. So please just do kind deeds and cultivate and practice and accumulate merits. Do you still remember in the sutra? As long as the Buddha's and Bodhisattva's name goes through your ears and your mouth and especially your heart, then it will eliminate tons of disaster. Maybe before you were supposed to go to hell, then you won't. So now, I'd like to chant Earth Bodhisattva's heart mantra to pray for everyone. Now you can think about who you're going to pray for, maybe for the whole family or a specific person, maybe someone who is sick or maybe has some trouble right now, or maybe needs health and longevity. So now we need to be very focused and concentrate on the chanting. So we will chant for chant for about 30 minutes, and then after that we'll have we'll have some new things to release. And so now let's start chanting.
Yes. 哈，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶稣哈？哦，哈哈哈，为 么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什么耶梭哈，哦，哈哈哈，为什 为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？嗡哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？哦哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？ 吽哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，为什么耶娑哈？唵哈哈哈，
以此诵念功德，回向法界。
I'd like to dedicate the merits of this chanting to the Dharma world, the Dharma realm.
愿大家所愿皆成。
I wish all your wishes will be fulfilled. Now, please rub your hands and then your face.
对，希望能消一切我们曾经做下的这个恶业啊。
I hope this chanting can eliminate all our bad karmas
都能得到佛菩萨
and
接引。
all the deceased families and relatives will be guided by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to Western or Eastern Pure Land, and at least to the heavenly realm so that they don't have to suffer in the hell. and all the people in the human realm will be, their wishes will be fulfilled, their children will study hard and will listen, and all the people who are supposed to get married, they can have a happy family, they can have a good career. People who would like to find a job would find a satisfactory job. Wish everybody healthy physically and mentally. Okay, Joyce. Actually, every time our online friends, every time they chant with our Grandmaster, they feel so wonderful and can feel the wonderful blessings from Grandmaster. Not only they can be blessed by the music, by the heart mantra, but also they know that Grandmaster is also live and they can feel the blessings from Grandmaster. And well, Grandmaster, you used the singing bowl just now, and that reminds me of wonderful singing bowl music. It's called Life is a Dream that can help people to have sound sleep. A lot of people who have sleeping issues, they can have a wonderful night sleep that can bring a wonderful day. And Grandmaster said, yeah, only when they have a sound sleep, then they can be healthy and they can feel happy. And this life is a dream has already benefited millions of people, not only Chinese-speaking people, a lot of English-speaking people, a lot of people. It's spread all over the world. There are just so many people benefited. Thank you, Grandmaster. And yeah, Grandmaster, you just used the singing bowl just now, and so that reminds me. And I know that Grandmaster is also going to give us another blessing. It's also a singing bowl blessing. And it's all is an illusion. Merely an illusion. It has just been released on Grandmaster JinBodhi's YouTube channel. It's called Merely an Illusion. I hope everybody will enjoy the music and share with your friends and family. So today, on the first day when we release this music, Grandmaster is here. So can we ask Grandmaster a question? Why we should call this music merely an illusion? Grandmaster said, well, it's just a feeling when I was recording this blessing healing music. Well, all sentient beings, they are sick. All human beings have a sickness. So everybody who's here live, whatever age you are, anybody who don't have any illnesses or any sickness, if you don't, maybe that's sick. You know, in mental disease, those clinics or hospitals, usually they say, probably the director of the clinic or the hospital, they say they don't have that mental disease, but then all the other people say he's the one who has a disease. And they would say, oh, the moon is blue. And then those patients would say, oh, do you know when you will be able to see the blue light? And sometimes when in what circumstances you would think that it's yellow or it's white, but actually the truth is that it is blue. And so these are not like poems or songs that are created by normal people. You know, all sentient beings are sick. these are the genes that we take from our previous lives, from this to this life. All these unhealthy diet, unhealthy emotions, unhealthy actions, behaviors, and even harmful behaviors. And so all these, all these bad behaviors, including our previous lives and our ancestors, they have done lots of bad things. And genes actually are in our body, actually are bringing us all kinds of diseases and all kinds of heretic diseases are recorded already in the genes. Meniere's disease or Maldev travel disease. And also polio and Alzheimer's disease. And they discover these disease, and then sometimes when we call Meniere's disease or something, it's because a doctor's name, the doctor who discovered this disease, and they name the disease with the doctor's name. And so there are many different kinds of disease. And in everybody's DNAs, there are some kind of illnesses. When something triggered it, and it's like it suddenly exploded, and it becomes a serious disease. So we have that potential those genes and those illnesses hidden inside. And, because of our improper actions, setting fires or killing or sexual misconduct or false speech, all these kind of things cause these diseases. And in the Earth Bodhisattvas, Aristotle Bodhisattva said, well, it is very hard to learn kind deeds, but it's so easy to do harmful diseases. And when we face harmful disease, it's very... Yeah, they already have that genes already inherited. And so when we analyze all these diseases, that's Buddha's teachings. Those good ones, sweet ones, and we always want good things, sweet things, wonderful things, everything. Well, that's mine. So it's always this me, this ego is bringing all the trouble. So this ego is too big. There's a potential mental disease, and we call that what do we call that? It's like they force people. They force people to do things, and so they, especially ladies, like it's called OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And so, like in their mind, they always force other people to obey their order. So I'm always right, even whatever you said is right, it's still wrong. A lot of people are like this. And so in many families, they have these kind of issues. It's potential problem. So in many families, they have this potential issue to disturb their happy life. In everybody's DNA, actually, this me is there and has this OCD, and also any other disease. Some people, also there's the delusional disorder, or what we call paranoia. And they say, oh no, there's a worm there. Oh no, this is a ghost. Well, actually, in order to completely heal all these diseases, I use my singing bowl to chant, to sing this music, so everybody will see the illusion. it's always this ego like make the trouble. So where is this me? A lot of times in the past I said 100 years ago, where were you? After 100 years, where would you be? Maybe 100 years ago, you're probably in a garbage bin. After 100 years, you're probably in the toilet. Well, you won't be happy to hear this, but this me actually, after 100 years, probably there even not be a trace of this me anywhere. Because because nowadays, after people die, they will be cremated, and then sometimes they couldn't even find the ashes, and they said. So because if they put the ashes in the tomb, it would be too expensive. If they just threw away in the ash, they think, oh no, we can't find it. And then if they put it above the like a cupboard, then it's actually quite frightening. It's too high. And so my suggestion is that maybe use it as fertilizer. And then those you just threw them or spray on the apple field, and then the apple will probably have some human smell. And so we come from the earth and then we go back to earth. We think that there's a me before 100 years, there's no me. After, there's no me. And in the middle, it suddenly emerged. And what is it? Well, let's review the Chinese history. Let's think about when Emperor Guangxu and they were, fighting. They were young and think, oh, I want to perform some reform. I want to make my country very modern. And so the Guangxu emperor was fighting with the Cixi Empress Dowager, and so they always fight. And so the young emperor wants to reform, but then the old Empress Dowager said, "What are you doing?" And they're like, so the Empress Dowager will call and so they will be fighting, and the emperor will always be irritated and furious. And well, after that, it's just a dream. After a few years, maybe those stories are told by some eunuchs, and well, actually, those famous people, because these stories might be told by those eunuchs, and then some people will hear, but other people, they won't even leave a story. And the only female empress in the Chinese history, she has the tombstone, which has nothing written on it, nothing carved. Why should 500 years ago, there's no me, and after 500 years, there's nothing. And so there's nothing written on the tombstone. So it actually matches empty. Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form, which is written in the Heart Sutra. It's just a dream. Why should I written something there? Well, as a lady, I've already said too much. Now I'm not going to nag anymore. I've already, after I die, I'm not going to say anything. Just know who is inside this tomb. That's enough. So she has already seen through. That's why she put no words and no character, nothing on the tombstone. And so Buddha, if we don't have those Buddhist sutras, there's nothing left even. And now we have those relics. Nobody knows which one is authentic. And we don't know which one actually will jump. Maybe the relic that shines may be a fake one. So we never know. A lot of things in the world is in between existence and non-existence, and interchange from each other, transform from each other. A lot of things that trigger our unpleasant emotions. Is there anything that we absolutely need to be unhappy? Think about it. Those who have not get married, you are not going to be afflicted by divorce, right? Because you don't have a marriage to divorce. Those who have already divorced, you want to go back to the previous marriage, you cannot. You've already divorced. You cannot go back. It's just a dream. And it sounds like something real happened, but it's just a dream. Those who there were two scholars in Tibet who I helped them before, Professor Liu in Qinghai. And his student was not qualified, but his student became the professor 2 years before this Mr. Liu, and he was like so furious. If I didn't talk to him, he probably would die. And his wife was very, very good. Like she would always praise him, comfort him. But I will scold him and correct him. I said, "Oh, Professor Liu," he said. "Oh, you don't call me Professor Liu," he said. "What should I call you? Say Lao Liu?" And he said, the title professor, after 100 years, would anybody call you still Professor Liu? He said, probably not. What about 100 years before? He said, no, at that time there's no Professor Liu. So whether you are a professor or a teacher or what, you're nothing before that. I'm not like blaming you. Yeah, this is a time and space. Well, I said it's not time and space. It's just the truth is emptiness. Time is created by humans, and these are all illusions. These are all dreams. Buddha said, all of those that human beings are pursuing, these are just dreams and illusions, and like a bubble. And when the rain drops on the river, then there's a bubble, and maybe you have some, detergent, and then if you stir it, there are some bubbles. You think that, oh, this bubble will just break sometime. Don't think that this is real. Don't take too serious about it. When the teacher said, "Oh no, the student didn't write it very correctly," and he wants to beat the student, but don't be so serious. You always consider that writing beautiful character is very important. Well, if he doesn't write a beautiful character, but he understands the meaning, he can become a philosopher. But those who learn arts, they always think about how beautiful it is. Those who cannot say, especially those muted, they cannot say anything, so they become philosophers. I actually know some writers who are like that. A lot of writers, they cannot say anything. When you're sitting with him, you might think that he's very silly, but he can always write down lots of things and analyze lots of things. These are writers. So life is a dream. We are attached to so many things, these power, authority, or wealth, or whether we always want wealth, right? And once we have that wealth, then we think about children and career. Is there any one of them always follow your mind, your wish? No, nothing. Even everything followed your wish. I don't want to give examples, whether it's in Hong Kong or Taiwan or Macau or in China or Italy or in the States. All those wealthiest people, even before they die, they still have millions of people. But before they die, they're always in extreme torture. They're like the slave of money. They're like the slave of these money. They work so hard to earn these money. They don't want to use any of them, so they save all of them. But then their children and their relatives just took away all those money, just like the wolves are trying to divide all the meat. And none of those wealthiest people are happy. They thought, oh no, if I have known that earlier, after 50 years old, I will not work at all. I will just enjoy life. They start to regret because all these fame and wealth and money actually bring them extreme harm. Nobody cares whether he goes to heaven or hell. All those friends and family, they just think, oh, money, give me, give me. But when they need people to work, there's nobody there. But when the money is supposed to be divided, then they all like wolves. So they always fight for them. They even, fight for it. They work hard for it, and they even want to kill themselves. That's just a bubble. Why should you? Why should you, fight for it? Why should you struggle for it, and even to death, and bleed for it? And so see through the truth. I want to give you an analogy. It's a Chinese old saying. It's like a big a big ball, and there's the fire under it. And so if you just take some boiling water trying to distinguish the fire, it cannot distinguish the big fire. But how can you stop the fire? You take away the firewood. You just take away all the firewood, and of course the fire will be gone. And so what should we do? See through the truth. And these are all illusions. Don't torture yourself. When we have unpleasant things happen in life, actually these unpleasant things are just an experience of life. Let's just experience it. If we don't have much to do, then if we cannot have a good marriage, at least I can be, I can enjoy quietness and calm. And those who have been together for 50 years, and the journalist asked the old man and said, oh, tell us the secret, how you can be together for 50 years. And then the old man said, oh, just bear whatever is hard to bear. And then the old lady was completely irritated and said, what? Tolerance is happiness? Really? Well, tolerance is actually a torture. It's just like you want to go to the washroom, but you cannot find a washroom. This is it's a suffering. They actually should have divorced for many years. 20 years ago, they should have divorced, so they don't have to tolerate. They don't have to tolerate the bad habits of your partner. That's called letting go. Your enterprise has brought so much pain to you. Why should you tolerate that pain? Why should you keep it? And at the end, all these wolves are coming to divide it, the money. and you have so much money to give to your children and descendants, but they practice, well, they just pretend to be filial. It's not because they respect you, they just want your money. You know that now, and you just don't want to say that. And if your children, intentionally give you the wrong medicine or give you the wrong shot to intentionally kill you, nobody knows. So why should you do that? So a lot of people at the time of death, they now see through, but it's too late. And so they regret at the time of death. And when we see through the truth, then we don't need to be attached to that. Don't need to always attach to that. A lot of people say, oh, why should you be single? They would laugh at you, they would question you, because they don't know what is liberation. They don't know. Don't try to pursue the perfection in life. Whatever you feel good, it is good. So everything that's called by this attachment, we should let go. Don't be attached in pursuing those bubbles. These are just illusions, just like a dream. Life is a dream. So let go. If you understand what I say, what I teach right now, the singing bowl music and the voice and the mantra will allow you to see that everything is emptiness. All illusions are caused and created by our heart and mind. As long as we let go, then it will all dissipate and disappear. I hope you will all understand it, and you will also share it with your friends and families so that everyone can listen to this music of liberation. And at the time of enjoying the music, they can dance freely with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and see through everything and never have to suffer from all these pursuing of the bubbles, and all these illnesses will not exist. It's just like we take away the firewood and there will be no fire. Our heart will be pure, at ease, and we will obtain the true elevation and transformation, and ultimately we will attain that true wisdom, the prajna paramita, and all our physical and mental disease will disappear. So I suggest every one of you to share this with your friends and your family. Well, I've said so much. Maybe the best way is for us to listen to it together. I hope everyone who hears this music will be healthy physically and mentally and live as long as the sky and will not be afflicted by anything in the mundane. You will your wishes will be fulfilled, and you will have achieved that ease and happiness.
好，大家听了应该有所感受哈。多听
I hope you, when you hear this, you will feel something. If you listen more and more frequently, it will bring you a lot of benefits, a complete cleansing for yourself, I hope. Just now, I see that you have questions. Oh, Joy said, I see that our online friends have questions. Yeah, Grandmaster said that this life is a dream, and they heard about letting go, and a lot of people are touched by this, and they're having tears, and some people are a little bit confused. So they ask if everything is an illusion. So then, what is real? Like, how can we have motivations to do something? Well, Grandmaster said, I guess the person who actually are having tears after hearing everything is an illusion, that probably yesterday she just received the ring for engagement probably. So if it is an illusion, but if we see everything is an illusion, so what kind of attitude and what spirit should we have to face our life, to face our work? This is a very good question, and I need to face this challenge. Yes. For myself, when I am teaching youth, and especially those youths are actually trouble teenagers for their parents, and whether they're young men or women, they have a lot of troubles. They don't even wash their face. They just lie on the bed. They don't get up, and they have a lot of bad habits, or they play computer games all the time, or they take drugs every day, or they gamble, and they have a lot of destructive actions, and the parents are having a lot of pain in their heart, and they don't know what to do. So they come to find me, and I become that bad person to, to tailor them, to train them. And so when I teach them, I say you need to have a very good goal, so then you have motivations. So it sounds a little bit conflict as the teachings I said about the illusion, but this is a union of conflict, and if you're not 60 years old yet, for your work, for your family, to your study, should you be more serious about your roles, right? So if the mother need to sew the clothes for the children, wherever you need to sew, you need to do. And whatever you need to cut the cloth, then you need to cut it well. And so for the welding, if you need to weld 10 points and you only weld 2 points, then it's a big problem. Those drivers, those truck drivers, when you take turns, should you check the road first? And the drivers, when they make troubles, they said, "Oh, I just was lazy, I didn't check." And then when I turn, then the other motorcycle was smashed. And so how to solve that problem? When you need to be careful, you need to be careful. And when it's time for receiving benefits, you need to let go and don't be too attached to it. When we are dying, close to the time of death, we need to let go a lot of things. We probably have almost completed our life mission. We probably need to let go a lot. Those millionaires, when they are about to die, they also need to let go. Yeah, I'm more capable than many people, so I've already worked hard. I didn't use all of this money. It's my, that's just my choice. I use the money to give to the poor people. That's my virtue. Those who are left for children, these are just their fortune, and whoever can get it, it depends on their ability. So we could only think that way when we see the movies for ancient times. Those the old emperor is about to die, and all these a bunch of princes, they're like fighting for the position of the emperor. And sometimes even the emperor maybe left a note for who will be the future emperor. They would even burn it, and every prince would be fighting for the position. And usually, the one who has the higher ability will succeed. If among all these princes, and he can fight with all the others and eventually take the position. He must be the strongest one, right? You need to fight for it, and so that means that the young prince who are going to get the position, he has that ability. But the old emperor needs to let go. Before he was the emperor, he can kill whoever he wants. But let's read the Chinese history. How many emperors kill all these corrupted officials? Not many emperors can do that. Sometimes when they're too strict, no one would help them to manage the country, right? Because there are very few educated people. Even fewer would know how to manage the country. So a lot of emperors would say, okay, your greed is actually within my control. And if you grow some apples, the apples that are taken to the market to sell, actually only half of them are bringing to the market for sale. There are so many, animals and birds and worms and also wind. And so the apples that are able to take to the market to sell, maybe only 1/3 of it. The person who first plant apple trees, they might be very angry. When he sees there's a storm, he's very anxious, but after 20 years, he would be, he would just let go. Okay, if it's like this year, maybe next year would be better. So he would just give hope to the future. If there's any damage, any loss, it's within his expectation. The first time when he sees, oh no, there are apples all over the ground. Some of them only are bitten by the bird for a little bit. Those apples you need to freshly pick from the trees, look really fresh and really good, and bring to the market, right? Only part of those apples can bring to the market. The empress would see through the whole thing and think, okay, these officials, your greed, as long as it's within a certain scope, it's okay. And if it's beyond that, then maybe we'll do something. So maybe my right hand would be yang and left hand will be yin. And so I will just turn. Yeah. One day I will kill some people, and even sometimes will be very, very cruel and kill. And so even kill the whole family. So this is seeing through of the emperor. When you just corrupt a little bit, he cannot kill everyone, because otherwise, how can he manage the whole country? Well, nobody is completely not greedy. As long as they are less greedy, they're already good officials. If they're not greedy at all, then only if the emperor can appoint every single officer himself. Very rarely can he appoint them So that's why if someone who is not greedy at all, they're like bodhisattvas. Yeah. Only when the emperor will support this really good officer, really strongly support him. If he kill all the other greedy people, then and only maybe 1 or 2 these very good officers left, then he doesn't have any officers. And even the eunuchs everywhere, they're all greedy. So can he kill all of them? No. So everything in this world, sometimes when you need to be serious and careful, then you need to be serious. When it relates to your benefit, you may need to let go a little bit. And relax and let go. Put down and see through the law, not just see the cause, but also see the ending and even the side effects. And afterwards, only when you see the whole 100 years, then you know what to do. Those people who are doing things extremely serious and strict, they don't have good relationship. Sometimes they talk about these relationships. There's a Chinese song. They say, back to back, sitting on the carpet. And in my hometown, they would think, oh, maybe you're a landlord, so you can back to back and sit on the carpet. So in my hometown, they would interpret this way. In the winter, you wear the winter coat. And you just lean on the wall and, face the sun. And that's the right thing to do. So it depends on everybody's understanding. So for couples, their relationship, and also for colleagues in the relationship in work, and anything that has something to do with emotions, then there's giving, there's spoiling, or giving without a name or without reason, or tolerate without reason. That's love. Love needs to include all of these. If you're too strict, and who cook, then only the people who cook can eat. And so you would think, oh, I only cook the food for myself. So whoever cook will eat. So for a couple like this, if the husband or wife only cook for themselves, would they be able to stay for 10 years? And so Joyce, I will only wash my clothes. I don't wash your clothes. Can you do that? So, well, Joyce said then this couple will look like tenants, like they're like roommates. They're not couples. Well, you cannot do that. And if a thief comes to your room, I don't care. Well, this is a purity, right? I'm very pure. I need to be calm. This is a born arhat. But even two arhats live together, you still need to care about that. Even two arhat or two monks live together, you need to help each other, right? If somebody wants to kidnap one person, you don't care? No. Well, the other monk would say, actually, all the money are with this monk. You need to, so you need to help each other. Helping each other is actually to make things easier for both of us. Because of love, a lot of things cannot be very, clear. You cannot say the responsibilities are very, very clear. Okay, you can't say, okay, this year I washed dishes 108 times. I washed clothes how many times. If you count how many times, the clearer these numbers are, actually the more problem in the relationship. So that's why those mathematicians cannot have a very happy life. We need to be like Zhen Banqiao, who was in the Qing dynasty. He always is like, ignorance is a bliss, right? Yeah. So happiness is actually you perceive it as happy. If you're too clever or too clear-minded, you always are very clear about how much I give. The more you remember this, the more pain you would have. See, you two have very good memory, right? When I was 18 years old, a man gave me a rose, but the rose actually lost 2 petals. And 15 years ago, I remember you gave a rose to another girl. If you have really good memory, sometimes you don't feel happy. Okay, maybe your husband, when you were 28 years years old, you remember that he blamed you. And whenever you think about that, you feel pain. And that's a problem because you have too good memory. So you need to forget it. Okay? Pretend to have not bad memory. You need to drink more porridge from northern China. Those porridge are like just a mess. And yeah, those people who are south of the Yangtze River, they don't drink, they don't eat porridge. They eat those rice, but the rice are like very clear grains, so too clear. And in northern China, someone said, no, I cannot eat much because I've already had 13 dumplings. And I said, oh my gosh, I've never counted how many dumplings I ate. I just think how many plates of dumplings I have already taken. Joyce is good. That is the superior wisdom, is that you don't even remember how many plates you have eaten. You just remember how many tables of dumplings. That's even more advanced, even higher wisdom. The more clearer you remember, the less happiness you will have. So a lot of happy wives, they're kind of silly. So, their eyes are not very clear. They're not like police women. Yeah. These kind of women are very easy to get married, and they're always happy. Whatever her husband is, she's always happy and always. And so if the child said, "Oh, you've already had a whole bag of, sunflowers," he said, "Oh yeah, how many bags?" She doesn't remember. If you really have good memory, you can just intend to be, not very clear-minded, not to have good memory. If you love, then forget about that. Forget how much you give, how much you have done for the others. So when you're supposed to have clear-minded, when we need to wash dishes, when we need to pay for the meal, okay, I'll do it. When it's time for giving, then we do it. Okay, other people can criticize you. Oh, you forget this, but remember, we don't remember other people's faults. If the couple, both of them, remember other people's faults, then that's a problem. People who are always remember other people's faults and always pointing out other people's faults, he's very weak. He cannot bear other people pointing out his own fault. And always, if the other party, your partner has done something wrong, oh, I forgot. So that's happiness. So the happiness of the family, this is like always. Happiness is from this forgiveness and not very clear-minded. Two mathematicians, they are too clear-minded. They always, count. If they can live for 1 year, that's good enough. They're always counting. Yeah. They count. And two chemicals, they can. Chemistry, they cannot. The scientists, they can only marry maybe a farmer, because they don't remember anything. A mathematician, if he encounters a chemical teacher, it's like a wolf marries a fox. Even though they're both very clever, they cannot be happy. So the happiness of marriage is like yin and yang. One is yin and one is yang. And also in the family relationship, learn to be to mimic the Bodhisattva. Outside, we're probably young and strong. Inside, we're tender and yin and tender and soft. And maybe the first day of the month, we're yin, and the next day yang, and maybe in the morning yin and afternoon yang, whatever. So if you're too clear, then I mean, it's hard to be happy. There's a neighbor in Vancouver. The couple are both very good Canadians. They're very handsome and beautiful. But after 7 or 8 months, they separated. The young woman take out 2 big black, garbage bags, and she was in tears. I asked her, "Oh, what happened?" And she said she separated from her boyfriend. She said, "Oh, these are all my luggage." So, well, actually, every day I separate my clothes because I'm always getting ready to be separated. We never put clothes together. Maybe when you put clothes together and things together, when you are trying to separate the clothes, maybe you'll get well again. Now you don't even have an opportunity to get well again. And so if you separate everything, then you don't have an opportunity to admit the mistake. Yeah, maybe your boyfriend are supposed to say sorry to you, but you've already had the 2 bags and you already walked out of the door, then he would have no time and no opportunity to even say sorry. After a year, I saw that girl. The girl is already regretting what she did. She came back again trying to find that young man, but the young man has already left. And so if you're too clear-minded, you cannot be very happy. If you're just born to be very smart, what can you do? Then pretend to be silly. So that includes a lot of tolerance. My mom said, the minister's belly can put a boat inside. And my father said, yeah, the minister's belly can put a car inside. You see through all of these, even though, yes, we are very smart, but we're just like the Buddha. Okay, Monkey King, you can have somersaults, but you're still, after many somersaults, you are still within my palm. I don't know if I made it clear. Well, actually, I'm very clear in my mind, but it's very hard to express. And so Joy said, can I say something? I learned from you, Grandmaster. So when should we be serious and when should we let go? Whenever there's a benefit, then we go backwards, step back 1 step, and when there's any something hard, then we go forward. Some difficulty, we go forward. Yeah, so it's yeah. So if we put, we could also use analogy. We put oil in the pot. Be careful not to put oil on the fire. But when we're eating, we need to be both serious and forgiving. People who are very forgiving, you can see their body, like my figure, you see, very wide. I can take all the leftovers. Well, there's half a bowl left over. Well, if we threw it away, that's a pity. We're wasting the food. And so the leftover, I took all of them. Then I'm having like 30% more than what I should take. And so from our figure, we can see the size of our heart. So these kind of men or women are like, we can bear what is hard to bear. And this is our culture. So in a society, we need to, tolerate each other. We have people from multi-cultures. We need to embrace all cultures, then the whole society will be in peace. And so when we are tolerant and can embrace everything, of course, our figures will be wider and bigger. Well, your heart is big. Not necessarily, okay? Not necessarily your size should be big. Well, okay. Well, this is hard to express. I planned that we will only have an hour and a half. Is it an hour and a half already? Okay, good. right on an hour and a half. Okay, let's just say so much, okay? I've already nagging so much. Just let's say, okay, that's all. Let's okay, so the next live feed would be next Saturday, Vancouver time, October the 2nd, 6 p.m. In Asia would be next Sunday, October the 3rd at 9 a.m. And well, it would be a wonderful live feed, but we haven't decided the topic yet. If we determine it too early, then it's not go with the flow, right? Anyways, wish everybody health, happiness, and your wish fulfilled and auspiciousness. Your family will be in harmony. Let's see you next time.
小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。